which particular bedroom type do you think will sell first?
3-bedder because I think largely because of the schools.
I think the 4-bedder will be gone. People here might be a bit hungry. By the way, we are hungry not for food, hungry for big units. Okay.
Based on a similar kind of sizing. So you
Sorry. Oh, sorry. You're very alert. Alright, so today we're going to kickstart with episode number 3. And on this particular episode of new launch banter review series, we're going to review Tembusu Grand together. And of course, with me on my left is George and Wayne over here. So let's go.
You have to pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step number 1, there's one drop-off point. You have a gym plus. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
Mission control, we have liftoff.
Before we kickstart on Tembusu Grand, just a quick disclaimer on our banter review series new season for 2023. So firstly, we want to thank our tagging partner Rain, and Rain has graciously supplied us with, of course, some of the sales key information over from Tembusu Grand. Do take note of this disclaimer that we have is that this particular series is for educational purpose and sharing of our main opinions and research. Now take note when it comes to pricing discussion, some of the prices that we're going to discuss later on, these are all time-sensitive information, and of course, pricing is subjected to change, and the sole discretion comes from developer, whether is it during the first launch phase or throughout the longevity of the sales period. And do check in with your main broker that's helping you to broker the deal at the showroom. And of course, if you want to have a consult session with our PLB new launch team as well, later we will flash a QR code at the end of today's segment for you to sign up with us. And of course, now for the start of our new launch banter series, we're coming from an unbiased approach and from a research angle, so that we hope that this can add value to you as a potential home buyer that's hunting for a new project in the market. Now, on our first 2 episodes, we actually talk about the dynamics of a home buyer that's hunting for either a resale property or new launch property. Now, a quick methodology on how PLB view these 2 kinds of properties is that if you have been to some of our webinars, we talk about the fact that most of the time, usually you'll hear one-sided advice in the market that only new launches allows a buyer to see capital appreciation, and of course resale cannot see capital appreciation. However, it's not about whether it's a new launch or resale, it's really about selecting the correct property with the correct fundamentals as well as entry pricing. So the core investment principle that we want to have is that we want to see our property appreciate with good ROI as well as returns. Over the course of all this series, we want to dive in and reference back to our MOAT analysis as well. So for today's episode, we want to deep dive into Tembusu Grand. Of course, some of the targeted preview dates that's happening in March, and that's going to be very exciting because Tembusu Grand 638 units target launch preview is on the 25th March, as well as the launch date is on 8th April. And then, of course, you could have another 2 projects that's upcoming. One is the Continuum, and then in June and July, very likely Dunman Grand, right? So why don't we have Wayne to kickstart for us on some of the key facts on this particular project at Tembusu Grand. Wayne,
Sure.
take it away.
So Tembusu Grand is actually a 99 years leasehold project. Then the developer is actually none other than CDL and MCL Land. So they are a proven track record partnership. Right, so they have done projects like Copen Grand, which is one of the great partnership that they have launched, and that's also one of the EC that was launched at the Tengah area. The land was actually bidded in 2022. There were actually 8 bidders that actually bidded for the land, and CDL actually came up top of the list and they secured a unit. This project is located along Tanjong Katong Road, and of course it's right beside Tanjong Katong Girls' School and also very close proximity to actually 3 good schools in the D15 area, which is Tanjong Katong Primary School, you have your Head Girls' School as well as Guanghua School, right? So I think that's going to be a very good hyped up project because if you look at the whole entire D15 area, there wasn't much of a new launch in the last few years, and right away in 2023, you're going to not get 1 but 3 upcoming new launches in that area. Land size is sitting on the land approximately about 210,000 square feet land, and the estimated TOP for this project will be in 2027, 2028, thereabout. In terms of units mix, of course, you have your 1-bedder plus study all the way to your 5-bedroom. So I think that's a very standard kind of units mix among all the new launches today. So you will not get any more 1-bedder. So the developers are building in a 1 plus study. And then, of course, in terms of the mixtures, you have your 2-bed plus study, 2-bedroom, 3 plus study, 3 bedrooms, and all the way to 5 bedrooms. So I think that's a very healthy kind of mix in today's market.
So total 638 units. I think one thing that will be the trend moving forward is that with every government land sales, these GRS land plots are definitely 99 years. D15 traditionally, when we talk about from the olden days until today, D15 has this established status as like prime RCR locations. So usually buyers like to say that, my property is in the east, right? I live in D15. D15 by itself is already a branding.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like when you tell people you live in D9, 10 or 11, D15 by itself is like the second district with the highest amount of transaction volume. Partly also because it's very long. It starts all the way from Tanjong Road, stretches all the way before touching Bayshore. So from Bayshore onwards, it will be D16. And it's extremely long. The landscape right here, if we were to zoom out, maybe have a look at like our Google map, right? The landscape right here is pretty interesting because if you look at D15 traditionally, most of the properties are of a lower kind of height ratio. So they are largely predominantly dominated by a lot of landed properties before we hit the sea line. And then there are very little HDB properties. Most of the HDB properties concentrate at Marine Parade, Marine Terrace. I mean, the HDBs are actually like a couple of seafront properties, right? If you look at the coastline, actually last time the sea starts from the Katong area.
Correct.
So those are called seafront bungalows. It actually starts from I-12 that side. Yeah, and then they reclaim all the way, including ECP, including the beach. These are all reclaimed land. So all the high-rise are actually sitting on the reclaimed land. Yeah. So of course, and the high-rise are only the properties that are fronting towards the sea. It's not easy to get a high-rise project within the internal enclave. Yeah. So this property, of course, because it's the government land sales, is a high-rise. And you are sort of like surrounded by a lot of low-rise landed and boutique projects. Okay, so maybe George, I think our audience are always very interested in price point first. Why don't we dive into the price point of these three projects so that everybody can make sense? Tembusu Grand, the Dunman project, which is the mega one.
Yes.
And then of course the freehold one at Continuum. So these three, they're pretty close to one another. So let's deep dive into the table that we just came up.
Sure. So let's start off with Tembusu Grand first. Just to give some context, we also want to take a look in terms of the land price, and I think that will then set the stage in terms of what is the estimated sale price. For Tembusu Grand as well as Dunman Grand, now both of them are sitting on a 99 years land. Tembusu Grand, as what Min mentioned earlier on, attracted a total of 8 bids, so the land price is at 1302. For Dunman Grand, there was only 2 bids, but it is a huge plot of land just right beside the MRT station. Land price is at 1350. And last but not least, Continuum, they are standing on a freehold land plot. Land price was at 1440. So based on all this, naturally for the freehold, that would usually command a slight premium. We estimated the launch price for Tembusu Grand to be at 24. Dunman Grand at 2.5, as well as Continuum being a freehold, that will likely touch towards the 2.7 kind of price range. So I think based on all this price range, I think each have its pros and cons. Continuum being a freehold, Dunman Grand nearer towards the Dakota MRT station, and Tembusu right at the heart of Katong.
And I think for this season, a lot of buyers are very interested in the overall quantum price because ever since the 2013 era, so you've been to a couple of our webinars, we talked about this shift from the past whereby there was a huge kind of change in the types of properties that is being constructed. So if you look at this latest chart that we just talked about during our Nuggets of the Go series, so we have a latest breakdown, and I think a lot of our audience will be very keen on this chart. Okay, so this breakdown started from this because we were trying to have this segregation of 2013. So 2013 was the year that TDSR was implemented. Since then, developers started building smaller and smaller layouts in order to adjust the overall quantum price to suit buyers' demand and of course to suit affordability. So as we can see, it started the onset of creation of smaller units, as well as developers started building more and more 1 and 2 bedders. So we have a higher population of 1, 2 bedders, as well as smaller units. And the large units started to decline in terms of overall quantity that was being launched. In the past, larger size units are the predominant ones, right? We also further broke down 99 years and freehold. So if you notice, the dark blue color ones are the 99 years. And that also gave the new onset of acceptability of all these launches after the year 2013. So it also shows that because all these properties are like all fully sold, because they were all launched from 2013 onwards, it shows that actually in Singapore over the past like 10 over years, people has already gotten used to a lot of 99 years GRS land plot. And you can notice that freehold ones are very little, the red color ones, and these are all the freehold ones. So what we're trying to ascertain here is this. If quantum is so important, then developers also are very sensitive to the overall price being launched, right? So how we are coming back to the comparison is basically on this bottom portion here. So maybe when you can bring us through like some of the quantum price that is expected for Tembusu, Continuum and Dunman Grand.
All right, so once again, I think all these pricings are just a disclaimer that this is based on our estimate because we have not gotten the official price from the developers yet. But usually we will factor in probably about a 20% kind of like profit from developers after the break-even pricing. So that's how we got the estimate launch pricing. So if we look at just on Tembusu Grand and for a one bedder of 500 odd square feet, we're definitely looking at a price quantum of around $1.27 million thereabout onwards. So because do note that usually for a smaller units, the PSF is usually on a higher range, but then followed by the bigger unit, the PSF will be of a lower range. So if you were to compare that against the Dunman Grand, the similar size we estimate in terms of size because we still do not get the information yet. Dunman Grand will probably set you back about $1.32 million for a one-bedroom unit. On the contrary, for the Continuum, which is a freehold project, because of freehold status, generally you'll be looking at probably about $1.5 million for a one-bedroom unit.
Right.
And do know that that's actually one bed plus study. All right. So of course, we move now to the next grade, which is the two-bedder. We are looking at about the size of about 600 odd square feet thereabout. So Tembusu Grand will set you back about 1.6 million, and Dunman Grand will not be too far off at about $1.67 million. But for the Continuum, we'll definitely be looking at a price range of between $1.7 to $1.8 million based on a similar kind of sizing. So you...
Sorry. Oh, sorry. You're very alert. So, I was trying to ask, right? So Tembusu Grand, the smallest unit is a 1 plus study.
Tembusu Grand is 1 plus study.
Continuum also.
Continuum is also 1 plus study.
Dunman Grand? Don't know
Dunman
yet,
Grand, we do not know yet, but we based on the trending of all the new launches that we
They
are
have stopped
seeing-
building one bedder.
Correct.
Very interesting. Why is that? So what do you think?
I think because of is it because of the new restriction and overcrowding? that was actually one of the actual case for like areas in Telok Kurau. They actually put a restriction.
Oh, in terms of the size, is it?
Yeah.
But I
Maybe
think that
let's-
is,
let's research on
but
that.
I think that is mainly more on the bigger size unit that has to fit the minimum size of 70 square meters, if I don't recall wrongly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is based on size for a bigger unit. So they don't have a restriction on a smaller unit.
So for Continuum, they are actually building a lot of two bedders and predominantly three bedders. 2 and 3 bedders will easily take out about 530 units already out of the 816 units. So they take out 60-70% of the units already, 2 and 3 bedders. So how about Tembusu Grand?
So if you look at Tembusu Grand, we have equally the same number of one bedder plus study and the two bedder
One plus
unit.
is actually 117.
Yeah, so you do get a lot. So on the contrary, if you look at launch that we had over the weekend was Botany. So Botany, in fact, only had very small number of 1 plus study units on that part of Singapore. So on this part, probably I believe the developers may see demand for rental because of the close proximity to the Paya Lebar district, the business district, as well as also
Towards the CBD as well.
Yeah, towards the CBD area as well. So they probably see a higher demand for buyers who's going to buy into that unit for investment purpose.
Right. I'm trying to look at Botany in terms of the percentage that's being sold. Let's have a quick look at the.
So Botany, I just did a quick research. Botany right now, as of today,
48.7%.
1 plus study is fully sold out already.
Yeah.
2 bedroom have only left 2 penthouse units.
2 penthouse, yeah.
2
the high
plus
ceiling.
study, only a couple of units, less than 5.
Less 3.
Yeah.
2 bed premium left 2.
Correct.
So in fact, 1 and 2 bedder is like totally wiped out.
Correct. So only the 5, 4, 3 bedrooms are the main bulk that are remaining right now.
Even those that are in the OCR, the smaller units are being snapped out.
Correct.
So the last round when we did episode number 2 of episode 1, Botany, we were trying to. So just to take note for Wayne who just joined us, right? Later at the end we will give, we'll ask everyone to give a prediction which will be the bedroom type that will be the snap out, the fast. So actually, the person who won was Grace. She guessed that 2 plus study will be wiped out at Botany. So as of today, 31 out of 34 is more. I guess 3 bed compact. There are 46 units. 17 has been sold. And then Yurong, I think I forgot what he guessed, but he was talking about 3 bed flexi, right? So there's about 8 out of 40. So, well, surprisingly, of course, the two bedders, compact, 2 bed, 1 bath, 2 bed premium, 2 bed study, they're all gone. 1 plus study is gone. And the last webinar that we did, actually we had this forecast and prediction, right? So projection trending number one is that these 7 large size launches will be highly anticipated because those projects with more than 500 units, they will be highly anticipated by a lot of buyers. And because this year, although there are 47 units, but above 500 units, there are not a lot. And of course, Tembusu Grand is one of it because there are 638 of them. We also project that 2 bedders will do very well because of the quantum play effect. However, this is my own personal forecast, is that in 4 years later, when all these projects TOP, the 3 bedders and 4 bedders will still be the easier ones to exit because the demand is still there and there's very little of them.
So will these 2 bedder be what the 1 bedder are facing back then? Entry price is one of the lowest, but right now they face an oversupply of 1 bedder.
So if I were to look at this,
Yes.
my only concern is, of course, when all these properties TOP 4 years later, you will add on to the current supply. Okay, so we've got to end this part. 2014 to 2022 belongs to this portion here. My only concern is that there's going to be a lot of quantity of properties here in this segment, which is the 500 to 699 square feet. So you add on to the total pool. They will have a bigger competition when it comes to selling, but I think rental has no issue, right? So I think it's a great dividend play. You can hold it. If you are staying in it, I think that's fine. But if you want to exit, you're going to face a little bit more competition from the same owners that bought into the same project as you, as well as all the other launches around you. But if you are holding on to something like that, you will always attract buyers that are coming from different spectrum. Maybe HDB upgraded with a lot of CPF and cash. Maybe somebody that is living in another resale made profit and then they want to move to this project, or maybe a landed downgrader that wants to buy a 3 or 4 bedder. So yeah, that's my take. What about you, George? You want to say something?
Yeah, because I think this one, of course, tells us about the size, but it doesn't tell us the number of bedrooms. So last time, some of the 1 bedder, they might be within the 500 plus square feet because they have planter, they have balcony, they have bay window.
Yes.
But as we see the floor plan evolve, which I think we have a series that you talk about the evolvement of the floor plan. Right now, what we are saying is the floor plan are extremely efficient. Correct. There's no bay window, there's very well utilized balcony. Even the balcony can be utilized and dumbbell. So you can achieve the similar size, but maybe with additional bedroom. And talking about bedroom, I think for Tembusu Grand, the interesting thing is for 2 bedder, they only have 2 bed, 2 bath. They do not have a 2 bed, 1 bath.
Great. Yeah, I think you are right because we don't have the exact bedroom types, which is something that maybe we can get our research team to help us a little bit with as well. Wayne, you were not with us during the last Nuggets on the Go banter, right? I want to show this very fantastic research by our research team. Basically, this tells us a little bit, not all, but it tells us a little bit about the behavior of owners that bought into some of the launches 3 to 4 years ago. So
And the speed of exit.
Speed of exit. So we're trying to ascertain the buyers nowadays for new launches, are they speculators or are they buying for own stay? Or are they buying for rental play to hold it for long? And we realized that actually over the past 3 years, 2018, 19, 20, if you look at the total percentage of people that sell immediately when they take their keys, which is the yellow color one, within 1 year, within 2 years, actually the percentage is very little. And 8 out of 10 people that bought into new launches back then, actually they buy to stay and to hold. So I think it's getting a little bit more sticky, probably because they have waited for 3-4 years. Then they want to live in it as well, and they want to enjoy the new product. What do you think, Wayne?
I'm not too sure about this number because I think we have to correlate to the pandemic years, the COVID period, whereby there wasn't much of the foreigners as in Singapore that can actually rent the place. So that probably could also result in them having to hold on to it. And also the 1 bedder and 2 bedder, the smaller units are also, as comparison to the bigger units, are lesser in quantity. So the numbers will definitely be much lesser in comparison in terms of percentage to the bigger size units, which will definitely make up the main own stay units, kind of like proportion. So if you look at the years of 2020, 2021, the number of rentals probably will not be a lot. So that may be the reason why, I mean, for the smaller units numbers, it may not be that number of percentage are higher in terms of the sale, I feel. So I felt that the numbers is being reflected this way is because I think first and foremost, the number of units distribution and the units mix are for smaller size units versus the bigger size units.
Back then.
Yeah, it could be lesser. So the numbers could reflect that actually the bigger size units is more for own stay and people probably will sell maybe like 2 to 3
Okay, I got it. Okay. So what you're trying to say is that during this season, because that was the previous 5-year season,
Correct.
there were, okay, so maybe you can name some projects like example, riverfront residences and all that season, right? There were more 3-beders.
Correct.
But the smaller units were lesser in quantity.
Correct.
Compared to now, there seems to be more smaller units being created.
In a way, smaller units more, but I think it's also in relative to the total number of units mix, it's still lesser. Right. So when you plot it against numbers and percentage point, right, the larger units will definitely stand a higher percentage point, which are generally more for own stay buyers who don't really flip.
There's a very good thought process in the sense that we can further break it down to see that over the last few years, right, what was the percentage mix of the size and the bedroom types, right? Okay. However, if you notice this season, I'm not sure, like you look at Botany, right? The number of 1-bedder is also not a lot. Is it a lot, Botany?
No, one plus study is only one stack only.
Yeah.
So if you look at Botany, there's no more 1-bedder. 1 plus study is 36 units. There are 36 units, then predominantly 2, 3. So it seems that the strategy now is to focus on 2 and 3-bedder, right? So if you come back to Tembusu Grand, and when we look at the pricing, okay, my take is D15 has always been like a freehold area. You talk to people in D15, the first perception they have is that you have a freehold project, right? Of course, over the years, there are groundbreakers. There are a lot of high-rise properties along the sea coast that has challenged the 99 years. And of course, a lot of the 99 years projects have also done well. For example, like Seaside Residences, it has done well. A lot of owners made a lot of very healthy gain there. So I don't think it will be a challenge for the properties to be sold. Second thing is that I think the good thing is that these are all high-rise properties. The only thing is, I think because of the fact that there's this project, Continuum, so the comparison becomes a little bit more intense, and they're all launched within the first half of this year. People will definitely try to look at maybe Tembusu Grand in terms of overall quantum versus this Continuum, which is at the Butterworth area. You can technically walk to I'm not sure, maybe 10 odd minutes to Paya Lebar MRT, PLQ.
Correct.
Dunman Grand has no issue. I mean, it's beside Dakota MRT.
Beside MRT.
And for Dunman Grand, this is the largest project, above 1,000. Xing Ai has, I think, a lot of experience developing big projects, right? And then I was trying to think about the performance of Dakota Residences as well, Water Bank and Dakota, and those 2 projects did very well as well. So surprisingly, the Dakota belt, fronting towards the landed properties, this is a very beautiful belt because if you've been to Water Bank, you've been to Dakota, you look towards if you get the view looking towards the landed, it is super windy. It is extremely windy. The sea breeze that's coming in, but at the same time, you're not too close to the sea and you have like good food and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I think it's going to be a very tough fight over here because of this freehold component. And the PSF is close because the disparity is about $200-300. So I think the developers will definitely be strategizing on the overall quantum. And maybe just based on this, George, if you were to go for a 3-bedder, which one will you go for? Which project?
For a 3-bedder, okay, so my thoughts is this. Because we are in an area, right, where you have a bit of unblocked, but it's not entirely unblocked.
Which one? Tembusu?
For Tembusu, because you have a clear distance, but all the way until Amber, if you were to put out the map, all the way until Amber, that is where your view will be blocked, right? So to me, I will feel that, okay, since my view will be blocked, I don't need to go for a super high floor. I might as well go for maybe a lower floor unit at Continuum, at the freehold. In my opinion, I think we digress a bit. Why Seaside, I think, does well is also because surrounding, right, the belts are majority also 99 years.
Okay, so you're talking about which side will be blocked? Towards the head court area?
No,
No,
down all the way
south,
down.
towards Tembusu.
Towards Tembusu. Okay,
Sorry, towards Amber.
Okay, so this is basically, these are all basically north-south facing units. If we talk about Amber,
now we are facing towards west. south is facing towards Canadian.
So you're talking about
International.
these two
Yes.
properties, okay.
Correct.
So Amber and the Esta lah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Great. So you're talking about the fact that up to that range, it will be blocked already.
Of course, the distance is still pretty good, you know. So, in my opinion, I would say that okay, based on price quantum, if the price jump isn't that significant, I might just go for the Continuum.
Okay, understand.
Purely thinking from the exit perspective, lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about Wayne? I mean, like, if you look at this, which product will you go for? These three.
I'll go for Dunman though.
Go for
Personally,
Dunman.
I'll go for Dunman.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the location, the close proximity to the train station,
MRT
and
station.
I still got a very good anchor from the school from that side as well. So, and definitely the view, I believe there will definitely be bound to have one three-bedder views that's going to be facing towards the landed view.
Right.
So in terms of the lifestyle, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the exit, I feel personally, that Dunman Grand will have a better
Right. So is it also because Dunman Grand has above 1,000 units? Like what are you typically looking for? I mean, okay, it has two schools.
correct.
One is of course Konghua,
Konghua,
right?
right. Yeah,
What is the
that's
other
right.
school? Dunman Grand.
I think the other school will then be Hague Girls.
Okay, we can double confirm that. How about Continuum? Continuum has any 1 kilometers range from schools?
Yes, Guanghua, Hague Girls, Tanjong Katong, I believe will also be within the 1 km radius.
Okay, right. So Wayne, coming back to this, you mentioned that Dunman Grand, what's your top priority when it comes to the selection of a new launch property? Is it MRT station? Is it size of the unit? The density of the project? Like, what are you hunting for?
I'm definitely going for the exit, and of course plus also the amenities as well. So personally, I definitely want to go for a place that has close proximity to at least food, your
Is the MRT station very important for you?
MRT station. Yes, it is important to me because especially if I'm buying a three-bedders, I've got children, and if let's say I do not want to fetch my children to school and stuff like that, so they can basically go for the public transport, which is just within walking distance to the MRT station.
And there's longevity, right? When they go
course.
to tertiary and all that.
And the fact that with 1,000 over units, of course, there'll be some people who are a bit worried about the kind of like unit size because they may face competition when they're trying to exit. So, but to me personally, I like this kind of like size because it actually helps to push up the pricing whenever there's transactions.
Right.
Correct. And I think ultimately it's really the location that make that decision for me for Dunman Grand.
What Wayne was talking about when it comes to the transactions pushing up the valuation is because of this volume effect. So in PRB, we have our own analytics system. Basically, this is our own proprietary system. We come with 10 points in terms of analyzing different types of new launches. So if you have not seen what is MOAT Analysis, we have a couple of explainer videos on PRB YouTube channel. The very first one and most important one to us is the volume effect, because over the last 16 years as we sell and invest in properties for our clients, we noticed that when it comes to valuation, because before you buy or sell any resale properties, you need to call your banker to ask what's the valuation. And valuation is so crucial in Singapore because Singapore is such a small country and our land is scarce. We have only 340,000 private non-landed residential properties, meaning condos and apartments. And when it comes to selling, we realize that our valuation system in Singapore is based highly, in terms of weightage, is placed very high on the transaction volume in that project. So sometimes even your neighboring projects are doing well. Your project, if there are no transactions, your valuation is stagnated, which is why sometimes you see graphs like this. So this is a particular project in D11. You see graphs like this as well. This is D19. You see graphs like this. This is freehold D11. You see graphs like this. This is 99 years D9. And sometimes it's because on the season that they were being launched, the sizes of the units, and of course there were various policies in the past that sort of halted certain sales because of cooling measures. But now we're in a very different season. In fact, we have just been awarded, I think, like the 6th in global cities, the most luxury cities in the world by one of the latest research. And we already have 14 rounds of cooling measures. So we're on a different escalation point. But what we're trying to say is that when you look at this is extremely important to note that if you want to have a faster exit, like in 3, 5, 8 years time, one of the key things is to select a property with a higher density because there's a chance of higher transaction volume, and that can, because of psychology reasons, like example, if let's say you want to sell your 3-bedder, the first thing to reference is you want to look at the past transactions. And when you see your neighbor below you selling at this price, you, because of a higher level and you're of the same stack and size, you naturally want the price higher. So this is because of a herd mentality plus buyer psychology. So we can attach one video here to explain about volume effect. But coming back to this price point, right? So for Wayne, you would choose.
Actually, I've got one more point to add
Yes.
on why I want to choose Dunman Grand.
Sure.
Because if you were to pull up the URA Master Plan and you look at the land plot opposite Dunman Grand, which is a vacant army camp right now,
Right.
URA has also zoned that part as a residential, and that is also a very huge plot of land.
3.5 plot ratio.
Exactly.
Let's have a look, let's have a
what that means is that when Dunman Grand is launched, and in future when that project, it will definitely push up the price and create a good disparity.
In fact, the land is
So
based on the
Dunman
picture.
Grand plot ratio is how much?
Dunman Grand is 3.5. The one that is opposite is 3.5, and that is actually on a much bigger land plot.
Definitely.
So I think that will be interesting as well.
Just right across the street, huh?
Just right across.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Awesome.
Just right across.
Right, and that is of course a reserve plot lah.
It is actually already zone residential.
Yeah,
already.
zone residential.
It's not even like yellow color.
And the road has been opened up on the URA Master Plan.
Right.
Yes.
Versus the current.
Yeah. But of course, I think Dunman Grand will still have an edge because of the view that is towards the south. So naturally, I think there will still be price disparity within the development itself. Looks like we are deviating a bit away from Tembusu, but all these are just to give you some context. Yeah, towards the left.
Okay, so this is the one. So this is Dunman Grand, this is the plot here.
Correct.
Okay, let's come back to Tembusu, right?
Yeah.
Tembusu is a Hague Road.
Yes, 2.8.
This one.
No.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this one.
Right. What is here? Is it an existing project? Okay, this is Hague Court, right?
That
It's
is Hague Court.
also an empty plot of land as well. So in future, it might also be a
So
residential.
residential.
It's also zone
Okay,
residential.
so also exciting for Tembusu Grand because anything there's a new plot, it means that potentially it will be a GLS. So there's going to be a GLS right across Dunman Grand, GLS across Tembusu. How about the Continuum?
Continuum side is actually quite maxed out already.
So this is the one, Tiamsiu Avenue,
correct.
2.8 as well. But the rest here is all
It's already
Butterworth and all that.
Yeah, it's really all zoned.
And these are the older HDBs. Okay, recently we just sold Katong Regency, the mixed development here.
Yep.
One of the ground floor unit, 3-bedder, step up very quickly because it's freehold, opposite Paya Lebar, PLQ, and of course all the properties at PLQ are doing very well. Okay, let's come back to this. Okay, my personal favorite. If I go from like a quantum perspective, of course we don't know what is all the launch pricing right now. I think I will go for Dunman Grand. In terms of my personal favorite. Firstly, I favor huge developments. Not saying that Continuum is actually also big. 820 units. Okay, however, the Continuum part, of course, there are other high rises in the Butterworth region, right? But Dunman somehow, this belt here, your only competitor will be Waterbank and Dakota Residences, which was launched at 10 over years back.
Yep.
So this will be like the new kid on the block that's going to be exciting, huge, big. And I'm very excited to see how the facilities will pan out. And I think it will be like a standalone kind of project with not a lot of competition in future. And actually, I think anybody that will be buying the landed unblocked view portion will be very exciting. I mean, for those particular stacks there. So I think in terms of the 3-bedder, in terms of like if it's like 2.7, 2.8 range, I think these are good to go. Of course, coming back to the 2 and 1-bedder population, I think all these will still clear up for the 3 projects because a lot of people want to get into the private property scene. This is the first level of entry. The only thing you take note is, of course, in future, if you want to exit, it might take a longer time to exit because you are already entering at 1.7, 1.6, 1.8 million dollars for a 2-bedder. You want to sell at $2 million in 4 years' time or 5 years' time. It takes a bit of time for the market to move up. So maybe in 4 to 5 years' time, when you want to exit, it will take a slightly longer time. Maybe in 7, 8 years' time, when the next batch of new launch, which we need to refer back to this chart, when the next batch of new launch is in the new season starting from 2025. So any launches that is launching in 2025, 2026, they will belong to the next 5 years benchmark pricing. And by then, when all those new launches are being launched, your resale here that is going to TOP when in 2026, right, will seem more affordable compared to the new launches. Right?
And do you think that Continuum project will probably appeal towards the landed downgraders? Because most of the landers over there are all freehold. So when they downsize to a apartment status, they will probably want to store their wealth in a freehold, which they can then pass on to their next family members. So naturally, they may be more appealing for these kind of landed downgraders to consider Continuum as a downgrader tool.
If we judge by all the projects that will be launched this year, and of course D15, there's this 3, right? Then a lot of projects, if we come up with that chart,
Number of freehold in RCR, there's actually quite a lot that's going to come up this year.
But I think some people that want to buy into Continuum, they might be, the super pro freehold mentality.
So there's Embassy, by far is 132 units. But if you talk about the mega one, right, in the whole RCR, this is the only one, 807. So I think this will definitely sell out. This is like the most anticipated project because the rest are all small ones. Terra Hill is like the second largest, Pasir Panjang. Then the rest are all boutique already. Freehold CCR, largely boutique. OCR, one in Flora Drive, freehold. Okay, then the rest, if you look at.
I think RCR, the other one will actually be the former EuroAsia apartments.
Actually, right, speaking of like freehold and 99 years, we can also take reference from Irwell Hill, CCR. That is also a 99 years set amongst the rest of the freehold, but it performed quite well as well. Yeah, so I think because the 99 years will then usually command at a slightly, palatable quantum, which I think explains that people want to buy. And if let's say their intention is to hold for short term, I think they might just go for the 99 years.
Yeah. So of course, if you were to look at the previous season, right? So in Singapore, price moved very fast, which is why we came out with this 5-year thingy. So this was like the onset of the new 5 years pricing for Irwell Hill. So why did price move very fast? Because Irwell Hill was averagely done at about 2.5 to 2.6 or even 2.7 dollars PSF. So if you look at back then, you can actually get a 3-bed classic for the low 2 millions. And then you can get like a 2-bed, 2-bath at about 1.7, 2-bed, 1-bath. Yeah, so it looks cheap now. So once we understand macro, you will start to appreciate micro, because our readiness to purchase as a property buyer is always dependent on our own season. But our own season, when we are ready to come into the market, sometimes when you look at the current pricing, you become fearful. But by only understand the macro context on which pricing season are we in. So let's say now you are ready to buy, but you come in and you see this pricing and you become fearful, and then you decide to wait. If you wait until after 2025, it is the onset of the new pricing season, and by then, there's no more OCR properties at 2002. Maybe the next price range is 2005, 2006, and then you will start to feel even more fearful because you're priced out already. So we always want to share with our audience that by understanding macro context of where we are at, our interest rate movement, as well as the current pricing range, then it gives you more confidence to enter into the market. Because for example, if that time you could have entered into Irwell Hill, example, at about 2005, you can get like a 3-bedder at maybe 2.3, 2.4 million, but you missed out on it. And then now if you look at the latest pricing,
3,000 PSF.
you want to get a 3-bedder, everywhere is $2.8 million. It increased by about 400,000. And that is comparing CCR versus RCR, right? So, but of course, maybe in 3 years later, when we are sitting here and sharing our review, all the 3-bedders in RCR is 3.3 million.
Probably.
Yeah, probably, right? Because GRS, land cost and everything all increased. Okay, great. George, why don't you bring us through Tembusu Grand in terms of the site plan analysis?
Okay, so the site plan, I think what is interesting is the developer, in my opinion, I don't think they are trying to squeeze a lot of units. They could potentially do so, but there are only 4 blocks, and each blocks there are 8 stacks. I think they could easily, squeeze in one more towards the tennis court area, and then, just try to maximize. So I think that's not the objective of CDL. One interesting thing is, sorry, what do I say? Okay, so so the good thing about this development is it's very well spaced out. 40 meters between the blocks to blocks internal facing, so I think that's comfortable. You still get to enjoy your privacy. Gen sets.
Where's
the
the genset?
basement, right?
Yeah, that is at the basement.
Basement 1.
Correct.
Only to take note is the ventilation shaft.
Yeah, so that's okay. Substation bin center, they are all located at the basement, so that's pretty good. Parking-wise, there is a single basement, and then the other ones would then be towards the multi-story car park. So that's something to take note of. Of course, there will be two separate ways to go into the car parks towards the left and the
Okay,
right.
we need to talk about the multi-story car park because my own personal preference when is selecting a project is that the number one priority for parking is basement because if it rains, it can be a pain. And of course, when you buy a lot of things, if you're living there, you park your car, you need to carry all your groceries back, and we need to understand why some projects have basement, some have some has multi-story. Okay, one rationale is of course to build a basement it costs more. It takes longer.
Correct.
So the developer need to pump in more construction costs.
Yep.
There's more delay in construction. So sometimes developer opt for multi-story, and usually they like to build tennis court at the top. But sometimes it's because of the soil as well. Wayne, bring us through the soil.
So when we look at the soil, of course, this is something more technical, right? So if you were to pull
Which
out,
website is that?
you just have to search soil, Singapore soil, Singapore
soil
soil
type
type,
map.
right? Then you can just go and look at the image.
Who come up with this? This is fantastic, man.
So they actually,
SRMEG.
so they actually look at the
This one
different
ah,
of
soil
soils.
map
Yeah,
ah.
correct. So all of us know that probably in Bukit Timah area, the soil is actually considered more of the harder type, whereas more towards the East Coast area is more considered the clay soil, which is a softer type. So that may possibly explain why the developers may not be able to build a basement level of maybe B1, B2 kind of levels because of the soft soil type. And that's probably the reason why they go for a multi-story kind of context. Because if we are to also look at some of the other surrounding projects in East Coast area, we usually see probably just one level of basement parking, and that's pretty much it. And that is exactly what is being deployed in Tembusu Grand, where you only have one single level of basement, and then the main of the parking, maybe for the guests.
So
or the
there's still
visitors.
basement parking.
There's
Just
still
one level?
basement,
Okay.
one level.
Right. So it could be the orientation and of course the soil type, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
What other projects has a multi-story around there? Like how about head court?
Head court, I think it's on the surface level.
Oh yeah, it's the open parking.
Yeah, open parking. Then
Oh, I think it has basement also. You need to double check.
yeah, it's
Okay, but
plenty.
anyway, whenever there's a new launch that's happening right beside you, so if you happen to own a property at head court now, congratulations to you because it's freehold. It's also high rise, and of course, there's no more listings there. As of today, we just checked Property Group. There's only 2 listings, and of course, everybody's asking for 2001, 2002 PSF already. So congratulations, because the last one is about 1,007. Instantly, all the owners will want a $400 jack up pricing, and definitely some buyers will buy because they will notice that it's freehold, and of course Tembusu Grand is about 2004 PSF. Then some people that want something immediate now, they might buy. But of course the owners will not sell cheap as well, right? Okay, coming back, just now we're talking about the site plan. Let's come back to the site plan.
So towards the right hand side, there will be the multi-story car park. So that's where you have, I think 4 stories of car parking space. And then right on level 5, there will be where your amenities, there will be your facilities.
Facilities, sorry, is the tennis court on top of it?
Seems like
Yes,
it.
it's at level 5.
Yeah,
Tennis
level
court,
5.
The gym, BBQ, pavilion,
Even the kids play area that is located towards near to stack 22 and 23, that will be right at the top of level 5. And then you even have a co-working space that is
co-working space. Wow.
Yes, correct. So yeah, that will all be on level 5. And then right in the middle, there's separating between the 2 blocks. That will be the swimming pool area.
50 meters, good pool,
Yes,
good
50
size.
meters. Of course, you have the kids pool that is right between stack 25 and stack 17. So expect some level of noise over there. Towards the left, there will be another clubhouse. So you have 2 separate clubhouses that is on either the left as well as the right.
Right. So this is north-south orientation.
Largely north-south orientation, yes.
And I think it's good that they actually place the main entry and exit point in the Jalan Tembusu Road instead of along the main Tanjong Katong Road, because Tanjong Katong Road traffic is actually notoriously heavy during the peak hours.
Oh.
And moreover, it's a 2-lane traffic. So they actually filter in the entry and exit into the small road.
Correct.
Okay, so right in front, if you face south, you will actually be sort of unblocked because of the Canadian International School, right? And then if you face north, there's a row of shop houses, but you do have to take note that in future, when this 2.8 land plot is launched, if you buy anything here, there will be a blockage point. Now this is an open car park.
Yeah.
Likely when this whole thing is being launched, I don't know whether the open car park will be part of it, but it seems like it seems like it'll be part of it, yeah. So the open car park will be part of it. So which means that when you buy something that's facing towards north, you need to take note that this whole chunk will likely be blocked.
Yes.
Yeah, so you need to take note of that. That means stack 12 all the way to 22.
If I'm buying there, I will probably go for the inner facing stacks then.
Or, or the low floor.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, like 3, 4, 5, 6, all this 27, 28, 29, 30, likely there's no blockage in the sense that because
They are separated. They are separated by Jalan Tembusu.
Okay.
Then before they go down towards the 3.5 plot ratio. So
What
that,
is this H thing?
that is zoned as like hospital or medical facilities in future, I believe.
Right, but now is the Canadian International School, which is like probably not a forever thing.
Yes.
Okay, so if we were to zoom in a little bit now,
So if you want to have certainty, absolute certainty, then it's towards the inner facing, which is why I think they are also putting a 40 meters.
so here, right, so we will look at this plot.
Yeah.
This is zone as hospital, right?
Yeah.
So they're cutting this whole.
In fact, the whole entire Canadian International School and then plus the green field at the back, these are all zone residential already. 3.5 plot ratio. In fact, the plot ratio is even higher than Tembusu Grand.
Yep.
So like all these are zone.
Residential, 3.5.
Okay, this is zone hospital. This is zone a garden. A park.
Yes.
And then this zone C, educational. What is it C?
No, reserve site.
Yeah, reserve.
Oh, sorry.
It's a reserve site.
Oh,
It's right now the-
Okay, E. So sorry, brain fog. Okay, so all these are zone residential, and that means that in terms of selection of stacks, you need to pay a bit of attention because you need to take note of what is going to happen in future when all these projects on the top north portion are being launched, and the south portion are being launched. You need to take note of what will potential buyers in future ask you when you want to put your property in the resale markets. Because always remember this phrase that we invented in PLB is that today you walk into the show flat, you purchase, you put 5% down, it's a new launch. The moment you walk out the show flat, your property becomes a resale property. Because 4 years later when you get your keys, that is a resale property. And if you want to exit, because by then maybe you are doing very well, you want to buy a landed, you want to buy a bigger home, and you find that when you want to exit, you have certain level of difficulty or it delays your exit point. And our names are so precious now because of ABSD. So you take note of the stack selection. Okay, let's come back to a quick question, Wayne.
And I think it's also nice to see. I mean, the developer is also placing the 5 bedrooms in the inner facing stack.
Correct. That's what I'm going to ask you. So,
Yeah.
so when we always share with our audience, Wayne, when we hunt for the best stacks, how do we determine very quickly as a consumer? We look at
Rule of
yes.
thumb is that usually you just look for the most expensive unit or the biggest stack within the development and where the developer has placed that because
Which
they
is
definitely have
4 and 5 bedrooms,
yeah.
right?
And
So
the
they
penthouse.
Yep, correct. And they definitely have the kind of like level of insights to what is going to be the future development around the area.
Yes.
So when the architect design the whole entire project, they will generally want to place the more expensive units towards the better facing stack. So in this case, the inner facing, which is overlooking the 50 meters lap pool for the 5 bedders, and of course the 4 bedders are generally also all inner facing as well.
Right. Right. So what Wayne is saying is that if let's say you are doing homework, you firstly will need to determine, okay, where are the big boys? Okay, so as you can see, 4, 5 bedders, these are the big boys. So basically, you just take note of this. These are the big boys. Okay, so the big boys are facing internally. So if let's say you are having a budget for 3 bedders, try to buy the 3 bedder that is in the same facing as the big boys. So let's say if you are looking for a 3-bedroom type,
Unfortunately, all 3 bedrooms are all
only-
facing outside.
oh my goodness, okay,
No,
don't
it's
have.
only a 3 plus
only the
study.
3 plus study.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only the 3 plus study.
So 3 plus study,
So you
internal
have
facing
the
is pretty
stack,
safe.
2, 3, 2,
the
6.
corner, 2,
Okay,
3,
so
yeah.
this guy is okay.
2, 3.
This guy is safe. Okay.
Right.
And of course, the developer is also putting some units that are smaller ones inside as well. So of course, naturally, you look at all these 2 bedders, right? All these 2 bedders, and there's a 1 stack of 1 bedder, 1 stack of 1 bedder here, and of course 2 bedders here. All these will definitely be higher price.
For sure.
They will be a higher price than the stacks that are external facing here. Yeah. So the external facing one will have a lower quantum, lower PSF. The internal facing naturally, based on our prediction, will have a higher PSF and a higher quantum.
Which one do you think will be the lowest PSF.
Lowest PSF.
I think stack 3, 4, 5, 6 will be the lowest of the lots. Yeah, because of the driveway.
But I don't think the Tanjong Katong Road will be noisy because it's a
No, as in
slow.
because of the driveway
Right,
towards the
understood.
car park. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, if we talk about one beta, which one would be the lowest quantum? Lowest PSF.
I
Lowest
think
quantum likely will be the
Stack
stack
4?
number 28. I think it's stack 28.
28.
Why?
Or maybe, yeah, maybe stack 4 as well.
I think stack 4 will be the lowest in terms
Then
of PSF.
Followed by 28, probably.
Stack 4 is you got the number lah. Also 28. Okay, all these will be external facing. Okay. How about 2 beta?
Lowest?
2 beta.
Lowest, I will still go for stack 5.
Yeah, likely.
Why?
Similarly, I think because of the traffic, going to the car park as well.
Going to the car park, huh? Okay, so it's external facing, as well as Tanjong Katong Road.
But interestingly, that particular block, which is block number 92, right, is the highest level, it's 21 story.
Yeah,
The rest is actually 20
20
stories.
stories.
only.
Yeah.
Which one?
This block, yeah. This
Has the
particular-
highest level?
Yeah, 21 story. It means just 1 story higher than the rest.
Right.
The rest are all 20 stories.
Right. Okay, in terms of 3 beta, I think the lowest quantum will be these 2 guys lah, because they're nearer to the road.
Yes.
Then, because the road noise will come from here, then, 3 beta okay, but all these 3 bed compact will be sold out because their quantum is much lower. If you notice the difference in the size, 990 to 173, that's close to about 200 square feet. You multiply by 2,000 plus PSF is already 180 to 200,000 difference. So they will sell by quantum. All this definitely will be sold by quantum. 3 plus 30. Okay, all these internal facing will be pretty safe. What else? What else do we have? Oh, there's 2 3 plus 30 stacks external facing. So that means you are left with 2 stacks of internal facing. These
Yeah.
2.
Which I think that will be snapped up pretty fast.
Okay.
We also expect to see disparity, but I think just now you brought up a very good point between the 3 beta and 3 plus study. I think what the developer wants to achieve is also because to want to ensure that the price disparity, right, in terms of the quantum between a 3 beta and a 3 plus study are clearly distinct. So this also ensures that there wouldn't be a lot of competition. So I
Right.
think these are essential factors to consider when you're buying into a development and how the developer actually structure the layout.
So I think CDL and MCL did well in terms of size segregation because by this is a very clear choice for different target audiences. Buyers will not be confused because sometimes if you build 3 bed and 3 plus study too close in terms of sizing, I've seen projects whereby the 3 bedder is like 990 and then 3 plus study is like
Just a
1023.
Yes.
Then it's too close already. Buyers will be confused, right?
Yes.
So this is a very clear distinction, 990 to 173.
Yep. And I think the main difference between the
Yeah.
3 bed and 3 plus study is that 3 plus study actually comes with a utility. Based on the draft floor plan that we have, 3 plus study actually comes with a utility
Utility,
and a home
yeah.
shelter inside
Correct.
as well. So that's why you see any 3 bedders today, 1,000 plus square feet and above, generally comes with a yard and a utility room.
Right.
Whereas for anyone that is below 1,000 square feet, generally it just a kitchen itself without any utility and yard.
So the interesting thing is they have the provision of a wet kitchen.
For the 3 big compact also.
Yes.
And a dry kitchen,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. Okay.
Wet and dry.
Then, sorry, 3 plus study, you're saying again that there's a study plus
There's
a
a
yard
home
plus a home
shelter.
shelter.
Correct.
And
And
the
a yard.
WC.
Great.
It's mainly for your laundry purpose.
And if you notice, actually, the size difference from 3 plus study to 4 bedder is also extremely important. So there is a close to about
300?
300 square feet.
Close to
Because
300.
I mean, again, we have seen projects whereby 3 plus study is like maybe 1,001 plus, but the 4 bedder is 1,002 plus. That creates a too close a disparity. So it will then create confusion, which makes it a little bit hard for buyers to decide as well. So when the distinction is clear, it's easier for buyers to decide.
Yes. You're looking at about quantum of about 600,000. So between 3 to 4 bedder.
Okay, the only thing that I don't like about the 4 bedder is that it doesn't have the wide landscape layout.
Yes. And ideally, I would have hoped for a private lift. If it is a
I'm
4
really a
bedder.
fan. I'm not really a fan of private.
Not-
lift.
Probably
fan?
5 bedder lah, 5 bedder.
But I realized the 4 bedder and the 5 bedders will have a walk-in closet for the master bedroom. Whereas for the 3-bedders, it will just be a normal wardrobe.
Okay, and I feel that the 5-bedder is a bit wasted because usually nowadays 5-bedders are of that layout whereby you have a junior master on one end one. Then you have a wide span living room.
So this one they do have a junior.
Yeah, but it's not like
But it's not like a dumbbell lah.
Yeah. Okay, but it's okay lah. I mean,
But this is a draft.
Yeah.
okay.
These are all
Take note, this is a
draft.
disclaimer. This is a
Yeah.
draft. Okay, courtesy for our friend from Rain. Okay, and of course, let me have a look at this. Oh, this one there's an ensuite.
I think all the bedrooms, right? Usually the 4th bedroom will be slightly smaller, but based on the floor plan, it seems like it's about the same size.
Okay, but this master room is interesting. You look at this. Whoa, it looks huge.
Yeah, so I believe the bottom area will be the walk-in closet area that goes right into the
Then you
main.
got-
So
then you
you
got-
have probably a little area for your dressing area.
Wow, this is actually pretty not bad because yeah, this one, this will be where your bed is. Then this is like a
Dresser.
dressing.
Yeah.
This whole thing
Walk-in
is
closet.
walk-in. Oh, this is a very good design. Okay. Then of course you have a ensuite here.
The wall seems like they can't hack.
Yeah, because this is a GLS,
Yeah.
PVVC, prefab already, so cannot hack.
The important thing to take note if you want to hack here, hack there.
Then there's a yard. Okay, it's not bad. Okay, how about the 3-bedder layout? Let's have a look.
3-bedder will be very standard kind of layout.
3 plus study.
Like today's modern project.
It's the standard lah. Everything is standard. How about 2-bedders? 2-bed.
2-bedders, I
Pretty
think we
standard.
have like a dumbbell kind of a layout.
Yeah, correct. Either a dumbbell. But take note, the 2-bedder bathroom, they do not have ventilation window. Yeah,
Okay.
only 3-bedder onwards, the window, there will be window in the bathroom.
Okay, not too bad. So 3-bed compact, you have windows.
Yep.
Okay, you have windows. All right. The study room. Okay.
You can
okay.
use it as a storage. Yeah,
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so the dumbbell layout is good.
dumbbell.
Not bad.
Yes.
Not bad. Okay. There's no 2-bed, 1 bath. Okay.
There's no 2-bed, 1 bath. Correct.
Okay. The study room over here is good. So I think if I were to choose, I would definitely go for the A1S.
Yeah, correct.
Because I have a choice to use this as a walk-in wardrobe. Can be a pure study. There's dual entry. Then I mean this is also okay lah. It's just that, yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else that you want to share about this particular project before we end today's review session?
Particular projects.
Anything for our audience?
Yeah, I think this one is just located right beside Tanjong Katong Road, so lots of food options. So I think, plenty of food options for you to go for. How many percent do you think it will be sold?
I think
30 to 40?
yeah, I think 40%.
Yeah, I think this is like the numbers that we have seen from the past 2 new launches this year.
Surprisingly, Botany is already reaching 50% already.
Yeah, based on today.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
quite
of
it's
the
doing very well.
quantum
Yeah,
entry
probably
lah.
I think Tembusu might hit 50 lah. Because there's not much launches for too many years already in D15.
Yeah, and I think they also do not want to wait for so long because the later prices might be even higher.
Which is the plot that is opposite the Dunman Grand.
Something you know about D15 is that D15 is so huge, right? Because D15 has a lot of MRT station. It starts from Siglap, okay, Siglap MRT,
Yep.
Marine Terrace,
Yes.
Marine Parade, Tanjong Katong, you have Amber,
Yeah, Katong Park.
Mayor, Katong Park, and then you go to Tanjong Road. So it's so long.
Yes.
And take note because D15 has been like a township that has been established from the starting part of Singapore, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of owners that has been living there for a long time, and then their children are all used to D15. So when you see these 3 launches, although you think that wow, 3 launches is like a lot, actually it's not a lot. You calculate the number of units.
Yeah.
Continuum has 820. This one has 600 plus. Dunman has 1,000. You add everything is about 2,000, 4,000. It's not a lot to be absorbed. And a lot of the children that are living in some of the landed homes and the condos, they will come out and buy because they want to be near their parents in D15. So that's good. And furthermore, a lot of HDB upgraders from other parts of the mass market region, OCR, they are flogging into the D15 zoning because of the schools.
For the schools.
So D15 is like a forever evergreen area with attraction point, right? Yeah.
And not forgetting, I think there are some en bloc projects. Some of the owners have already exited.
Yes, and they need to buy.
Correct, and they are
Replacement
buying
homes.
into there. So I mean, if we talk about Mayor area, there's already a few projects that went through en bloc. En bloc, they still buy back towards the same area.
Okay, so I think then these three projects will likely hit 50%. I don't know, I just got a gut feeling that you might hit 50% the very first week because of like all these factors that we analyzed, right? And most of the projects, if we look at like all the high-rise ones, they are getting of a certain age category already. Right. So these three will take over. There's actually a fourth project, right? Which one is that? In
Embassy.
D15. Oh, Embassy. Okay, that's D15.
But that's a freehold.
Okay, so with that, we come to the end of our new launch banter review series, but we need to end off with a quick take by Wayne and George as well on which particular bedroom type do you think will sell off first. Now, George, take it away.
Which particular bedroom type will sell off first? I think
For Tembusu Grand.
the 3-bedder.
Okay.
I think a 3-bedder because quantum is attractive.
1184 square feet.
Yeah, the 3 plus.
Oh, sorry, the
study.
990 square feet.
I think either of these two. Do I need to be very specific?
No need lah. I
Yeah.
mean, like in terms of quantum.
3-bedder because I think largely because of the schools, and then they also want to ensure that it is comfortable for them to stay. I think for those that are staying at the east, they wouldn't say they want to stay for 3-4 years and then they want to move out. So I think it's a bit of a longer term play. So yeah, in my opinion, 3-bedder.
For me, it'll be 2 plus study lah. Because in terms of quantum play, in terms of quantum wise, it's still a very palatable quantum to go into for a project to go into D15. And being a 2 plus study, if I'm still a small family that's starting up my own family, I think there's still a flexibility for me to stay there for 3 to 4 years, secure myself into D15 and get myself into one of the schools over there. And I still got a study room for me to work and or even for the kids to study area. So I think in terms of the kind of like take up, I feel personally, I think that 2 plus study may be one of the quite sought after project, or rather stack a unit type over there in Tembusu.
Okay.
How about you?
I think
The penthouse units.
okay, I think let me see okay, because D15 the demographic is a bit different. Okay. I think the 4-bedder will be gone.
The 4-bedder.
The 81, because people here might be a bit hungry. By the way, we are hungry not for food, hungry for big units. Okay, by the way, we are coming up with a demographics bar chart very, very soon. In about 1 to 2 weeks time, we're studying all the income levels of Singaporeans, and then after that, we'll break down into districts of income levels. That will help us to understand the demand. But I think the 81 units will be snapped out because the 4-bedder layout is good. The quantum here, people might be able to absorb. Of course, that also is dependent on Continuum. Maybe once Continuum is launched, this one will have a push because if Continuum 4-bedder is too far apart, this 4-bedder will be snapped away.
And do know that Continuum is actually launching pretty much within a week after Tembusu Grand.
Yeah. So I think Tembusu's speed will slightly be dependent on the Continuum launch price as well. Yeah. If it's too far apart, then Tembusu will clear.
So I think they're just waiting for one another. I think there will be huge show out at the show flats. Yeah.
Definitely.
And
it's going to be a very busy D15.
they'll be hopping to and fro.
Okay, great. All right, awesome. So we have come to the end of today's banter review series. We hope that you enjoy our new launch sessions for this year, and keep a lookout for the next episode where we talk about, which one is that?
Blossoms.
By the
Park.
park.
Blossoms by the
One
park.
North.
We're going to do one off. All right, and then after one off will be
Stay tuned to
Continuum.
find out.
Continuum.
For sure. Hey, actually,
Yeah, actually,
you might as well just do Continuum already.
Okay, all right. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
See ya.